What's up, gamers? It is me, MtG here, back with another Magic the Gathering deck tech and gameplay video, and today we're doing a deck centered around Huatli, where toughness is going to matter for our creatures, and this deck was requested to play, and I've been testing some things out. There are a lot of ways you can actually play this, because, let me just go to the deck to show you, because Huatli is a green, is 3 mana, and that mana is either a green or white. You can play this in mono white, mono green, or you can play it in green white, or, you know, any 3-color deck if you wanted to. But we're going to be playing it in green white today. I've seen a build of this that's mono white that actually looks pretty good, and that one's a little bit more aggressive than this. We're playing this in kind of, like, it's aggressive, but it's a little bit more mid-rangey, I would say. But this deck is pretty janky, and part of the reason for that is just that I haven't played this enough to really fine-tune it and figure out what needs to be cut and what needs to be added. So let's get into this. Now, Huatli the Sun's Heart is a 3-mana planeswalker. She comes in with seven loyalty counters, so that's actually nice. She's kind of tough. She can last a couple turns if she's getting attacked. And each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So if we're playing Huatli, if we're playing around Huatli, we want creatures that are going to have a big butt. Nice thick butts, like, let's look at Suncleanser. 2 mana is a 1/4, and with Huatli on the field, this is going to be dealing damage from the 4. So, yeah, we want creatures that have big toughness, that we get a lot more value out of. Otherwise, these aren't very good offensive creatures, but when we have Huatli on the field, they become good offensive creatures. And what's nice about this is that all of our creatures are going to be somewhat defensive. They're going to protect us in a lot of ways because they have those big butts, and they're designed to be defensive creatures. But then when we play Huatli, we can kind of run over our opponent with all of a sudden all of this combat power. It's really nice. So let's talk about a couple things here really quick. And one thing, let me say this, what I love about new sets coming out is that when there are new cards that change things up or add a mechanic, some cards that were not very good before become really strong. Like Suncleanser, for instance. No one played this. Pretty much nobody was playing this until now I get to play it in this deck, so that's nice. I've literally never played this card before in anything, not even in Limited, because it just wasn't useful. It has this ability where you remove counters, but that's not as important. It's really important now that it's a 1/4, and because there is a proliferate mechanic, there are going to be a lot of creatures in this standard that have +1/+1 counters on them, so its ability does come in handy a little bit, but it's mainly important because it's a 1/4. We also play Snubhorn Sentry. It's a 0/3 for 1, and if we ascend, it gets +3/+0 as long as we have the City's Blessing. So eventually this will become more powerful, but it does become basically a 3/3 as soon as we play Huatli, even though we might not have the City's Blessing yet. So Snubhorn Sentry is really good. We play 4 of those. We also play 3 Rustwing Falcons, because this is effectively a 2/2 for 1 if we're playing it along with Huatli, and it's a flyer. That's really, really nice. We also, okay, so they're going to be a little, like, some things you'll want to tweak a little bit, because I haven't really settled on how I want this. So I have 2 Incubation Druids and 1 Druid of the Cowl, because I do want to ramp a little bit because of some bigger creatures that we're playing here. And I couldn't really decide between these two, which one I liked more, because Incubation Druid can adapt itself and become really big, but it only comes in as a 0/2. The thing I like better about Incubation Druid as well is that it can add a mana of basically any color. Whatever color we produce with our lands, it can make one of those manas. Is that how you say that? A mana of that type. But Druid of the Cowl is a 1/3, so it's inherently slightly more powerful, especially with Huatli on the field. So we don't have to, like, spend mana to make this stronger like we would Incubation Druid. So we can be a little more aggressive with Druid of the Cowl, but either way, it's not that much of a difference. It's a 1 toughness difference. And this one allows us to be a little more versatile. So probably Incubation Druid, but if you're building this budgety, you can definitely play Druid of the Cowl, because this is a common, and Incubation Druid is a rare. So if you want to save those wild cards, use Druid of the Cowl. We also are playing 2 Huatli's Raptor. It's a 2/3 with Vigilance, which is already pretty good. If it's going to be attacking as a 3/3 with Vigilance, and we only spend 2 mana on that, that's really nice. But it also proliferates when it comes into the battlefield, and since we're playing several Planeswalkers, that can be pretty helpful. We don't play creatures that are going to be having +1/+1 counters on it, unfortunately. So that doesn't really help us out there, but we do have quite a few Planeswalkers in this. so that's going to be pretty nice. We're also playing 2 Aegis of the Heavens, +1/+7 until end of turn for target creature, and we play this at instant speed, so it can either make our creatures really strong or protect them from taking damage in one turn, so that's also pretty nice. I love Kinjalli Sunwing. This is something you can play in like a mono white Flyers deck or something like that, which I am working on right now, so come back and see the channel when I've got that deck tuned just right, that it's actually competitive, because it's been really bad so far. But Kinjalli Sunwing is great because it's a 2/3 flyer and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Normally this is pretty good defensive creature against mid-rangey decks and aggressive decks, because your creatures, or the opponent's creatures, come in tapped, but this also gets that +1 to combat power because it has a 3 toughness, so that's nice. This is a weird one. I think Atzocan Seer, it's another ramp thing we've got. We add 1 mana of any color, and we can sacrifice them to return target dinosaur card from our graveyard to our hand. We play this because we have actually some big dinosaurs that we're going to want to ramp into and possibly return to our hand. Especially, we have Kinjalli Sunwing, and sometimes this will get killed, and we might want to sacrifice Atzocan Seer to get this back to our hand. But we're also playing Zetalpa Primal Dawn, which is a huge dinosaur, a really amazing card. This wins us games, basically, if we can get it down. And also Belligerent Brontodon. And we play Belligerent Brontodon because we only play 3 Huatli at the Sun's Heart, because we don't want to have multiple Huatlis in our hand, so that's why we're not playing 4, because she's a legendary planeswalker. But we do want to make sure that we have this ability, that each creature we control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So we run also 1 Belligerent Brontodon, and that's nice. It's a little expensive for what you get. You may want to sub this out for another Huatli if you're willing to risk having multiple Huatlis in the early game. I found that can be a little bit annoying if you have a full stack of those or something. You basically just forced to mulligan, but this allows us a little bit more versatility, I think. So we have big dinosaurs up here that we might want to bring back with Atzocan Seer. Again, you can go different directions with this. We also play Teyo, the Shieldmage. This is another 3 mana planeswalker that gives us hexproof, and we can create 0/3 white wall creature tokens with Defender. So those are really nice, especially with Huatli, because those basically become 3/3s with Defender. We can't attack with them, which is slightly unfortunate, but this does give us a nice defense. We do run 1 Prison Realm, because there's going to be those pesky planeswalkers or creatures that come out in the mid to late game that we're going to want to remove. And we also run 1 Conclave Tribunal. You can run 2 of either of these if you want. I don't think we really need a whole lot of removal in this deck, but we do need just a little bit to keep those threats off that might shut us down. So I want Prison Realm because sometimes there are those creatures or planeswalkers in the mid game that we really need this for, and this is a little more helpful in mana wise. So we can play this on turn 3 or play this in a later turn and also something else. So this is nice because it costs 1 less mana, and it's going to hit most of what we want to hit anyway. So that's pretty good. We also run 1 Ajani the Greathearted. This gives our creatures vigilance, we can use it to gain life, and we can put +1/+1 counters on each creature we control and a loyalty counter on each other planeswalker we control. So Ajani's great. We also run 1 Shalai. This is partly because it's a 3/4, it's got bigger toughness. It also gives us hexproof, just like Teyo the Shieldmage, but it gives our creatures hexproof, so that's good. And we can use this in the late game to give our creatures a +1/+1 counter to make them more powerful, so this gives us something to spend our mana on if we're running out of cards. Oh, 1 creature that I love in this deck is Baird, Steward of Argive. He's a 2/4 with Vigilance, legendary creature, human soldier, and creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless their controller pays 1 for each of those creatures. He's perfect for this deck. Baird is wonderful. He costs 4, and he's a 2/4, which is normally kind of weak, but with Huatli, he's basically a 4/4 with Vigilance, and he gives us a nice defensive passive ability there, so that's really, really great. I already talked about Conclave Tribunal, that's removal. We do run God-Eternal Oketra. This is a 3/6, so it's perfect with Huatli, and it has double strike. This is a huge offensive threat, and I guess defensive threat too. And since most of the cards we're playing in this deck are creature spells, his passive helps us a lot, or her passive. I don't know if that's a he or she. You let me know. I kind of think it's a she. Anyway, whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 4/4 black zombie warrior creature token with Vigilance. And that's really nice when we're casting a lot of creature spells. So this is a really nice offensive threat and can keep on coming back. When it gets killed or exiled, we can put it back in our library and pick it up again. We play Tristani Discordant. Normally, this is just a 1/4, but it becomes a 4/4 with Huatli, so it's actually an offensive threat. We probably won't want to attack with this anyway because it does have that Anthem ability where it gives other creatures we control +1/+1, but it creates 2 soldiers, and it becomes kind of big, so this is actually pretty nice. I only run one of it though because it's really not like a key card. Oketra is probably like our key card, but we don't really want to run more than 2 of this anyway, just because we get bogged down with a big card that we can't really cast. So Tristani is also a nice addition because if we're going wide, which that's part of the strategy of this deck, is to make a bunch of creatures that have big toughness, and we can go a little bit wide, and our opponents can't really block against that. So that's great. And then Zetalpa Primal Dawn is just good. So much value in this. It costs 8, which is expensive, and that's part of the reason we have so much ramp early on. Creatures that are going to be able to tap for mana, and that's really nice. But it has flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, and indestructible. So it's very tough to remove, and if it's going to be dealing damage to its toughness, that's 8, and it has double strike, that's 16 if it hits to the face of the opponent, which is easy to do because it has flying, and it has vigilance, so it can also block. It's just really, really good in this deck. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I think I've droned on about this deck already quite enough, so let's go ahead and jump into some gameplay, folks. Alrighty, guys, here we go in game 1 against Corinar. And let's see what we've got. We have an Incubation Druid for turn 2 and a Huatli's Sun's. Oh, this is actually very nice hand here. Because we could on turn 3 potentially play Shalai as well, and then play Huatli the Sun's Heart in order to get a lot of damage in the next turn with Shalai. I'm gonna keep this hand. This is very keepable. So let's go ahead and get our forest down here. Excuse me, got the hiccups. Okay. Now, I should say I'm not playing this in the ranked ladder just because I'm a little bit worried about running up against mono red and them burning us out before we really get to see this deck in action. So I'm just going to be playing this in play so we can really see how it works and see how these cards come out. If you want to see... Oh boy, here we go, Thought Erasure. This is an interesting deck. You don't see Dread Malkin very often, but that's okay. I feel like Dread Malkin is actually pretty good in like an Aristocrats deck. The main problem being that its ability there to sacrifice another creature is very expensive. For 3 mana, that's quite expensive, but it does get 2 +1/+1 counters on it, so that's kind of nice. And we got to take a little hit there, but that's not a big deal. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and play Snubhorn Sentry and Huatli the Sun's Heart this turn because they discarded our Shalai, which is pretty lame. Okay, I'm not worried. So they're going to probably be able to hit our Huatli the Sun's Heart next turn with Dread Malkin, but I'm not worried about that. I'm just not going to use her ability because I don't want her getting down low in loyalty counters. We kind of have to pray that they're not going to do some more hand attack stuff because we're already low on cards in hand, and that's quite annoying. But we're also pretty close to being able to adapt Incubation Druid, so that's quite a bit of power here coming up for us. And that ramps us well, so we don't really have to worry too much about drawing more lands. Excuse me, I'm hiccuping, yawning, I'm all over the place right now. I'm guessing that they're not going to attack with Dread Malkin, but they might. Nope, they definitely are. That's fine. I mean, I have a lot more damage to put out. Ooh. Do we want to play a Ajani right now? I think yes, we want to play Ajani because he puts... we can use him to put counters on our creatures here. And our creatures have vigilance, so there's the value of these... of these bad boys right there. Just them together, so we're dealing a lot more damage than we normally should, and they have vigilance, so we can block with them as well. Okay, so Tyrant Scorn loses us Incubation Druid, so that's a bummer because that was our ramp. That was our ramp there, so that's a real shame. And we also have a lot of ways to gain life in this deck, so I think it would do well against other aggro decks. Okay, I'm not worried about that. Yep. Baird comes in, and I'm just going to plus him up and gain some life. Go to combat, and now I do have 2 blockers, so I can block this if they want to attack me. Though I doubt they will because I'm getting close to lethal here. Like if they don't have a blocker, I have lethal because I can put a +1/+1 counter on. Or they just destroy that. And it's a shame, but whatevs, bro. Oh my goodness. Another Snubhorn Sentry. I'm going to plus him up so he's not in danger of dying.
Now do you see the benefits of peace?
So unless they have more removal, we have lethal next turn. So we're in a very good spot right now. Very good situation here. Death Baron is an issue. Okay, they've got blockers. And this has Death Touch, which is bad because they'll probably block it with Baird. I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then I may gain some more life. And I'm going to attack with Snubhorn Sentry. I don't want to attack with Baird because I know that he dies to Dread Malkin. Well, there's the concede anyway. Okay. I don't think they had much gas in hand. I was probably just going to attack with Snubhorn Sentry that turn and kind of take it slow. Because they didn't have a whole lot of defenses. And that was really good. They didn't have a whole lot going on for them. So it fared pretty well. I was a little bit worried because we were running out of cards there. One thing you may want to consider with this deck is that Militia Bugler is a really nice way to play this deck because it just continues to draw you cards. Cards that are probably going to be power 2 or less, just because we're playing Toughness, right? We're playing Toughness creatures, so they have low power, and most of the creatures we're playing already are 2 or less power, like all of these are. And so if we're playing Militia Bugler, we can go play it, and then we fetch one out of the top couple cards, and so we can continue to refill our hand with that way. This is actually a pretty good hand. I'll probably go, I'm going to go Snubhorn Sentry into Druid of the Cowl, which will allow us to play Incubation Druid and then adapt it pretty fast. I'd like to play Huatli's Raptor later once I've gotten creatures with +1/+1 counters on them and Planeswalkers on the field so I can proliferate them all up. But, this is also a good aggressive card because it's a 2/3 with Vigilance, so we can pretty much attack with immediately. And there's a Baird, so that's nice. That's nice. Oh my gosh. Woo. Okay, I was hoping they had a land to play there. We can't play Huatli the Sun's Heart this turn, but we can next turn, which will actually give us quite a bit of power. Quite a bit of power. Okay, Ajani's Pridemate. So this is going to be a 3/3. Okay, I'm not sure I want to play Huatli right now because she can get punked pretty easily by Ajani's Pridemate, but this is going to become really big really fast. And that's a little bit concerning. I'm not sure whether to play this. I guess I play this kind of aggressive, but if he gains some life next turn, we're going to be in trouble because he's going to be able to attack our Huatli. But I think we go ahead and do this.
We will write this story together.
And then I'll attack with 1. He probably doesn't block this because he knows he has ways to gain life. I wish we were able to draw some more lands here because I want to be able to play all this, kind of fill up the board. Okay, well they are stuck on something, so that's actually pretty good. Let's see what can we do here. If I play Snubhorn Sentry, I can also still play Teyo the Shieldmage, or I could just play Incubation Druid and build up a nice board state here. And I'll go to combat, and again I'm just going to attack with Snubhorn Sentry because I want to keep Druid of the Cowl alive to make sure I can produce more mana than the lands that I have. He may have a combat trick here though. Yeah, Moment of Triumph is not surprising when you've got Ajani's Pridemates. I'm not worried about that. That's fine. I'd rather him do that now than play it when he's killing Huatli. Okay, Legion Lieutenant, huh? So this is going to be a 5/5 now. And he could still play Moment of Triumph. Give this a +2/+2. Because it costs 1. Okay, nope. And I can play Suncleanser is perfect for Ajani's Pridemate. That's really, really nice. Yes, you fool! Okay, and we'll just go ahead and play Teyo the Shieldmage. Create a wall. And attack with Snubhorn Sentry. End our turn. So we still have a 4, like basically a 4/4 blocker. And Call to the Feast. Okay, well, Ajani's Pridemate cannot get counters, so that's funny. But they still have a lot of life gain on the field and a lot of threats here, so that's not good. But luckily we have a Baird coming up here, which will help us quite a bit. Yeah, and this ability, oh, God-Eternal Oketra, huh? There we go. That's a thing. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just pass. So if Suncleanser dies, his ability stops working for Ajani's Pridemate. So I think I just pass the turn and see what the opponent's got here, because we're about to be able to wipe them pretty hard. Okay, Rustwing Falcon. If I use this, yeah, I'm just gonna play Rustwing Falcon because I create a little zombie warrior there. And then I can play Baird, create another zombie warrior. And I'm going to attack with Oketra, because with Double Strike, this will wipe most of their blockers. If they try to block and kill Oketra, most of their blockers are going to get wiped. Okay, the problem with Oketra is that it doesn't have trample, so they can block it easily. I wish I had a way to give it vigilance, but I don't. But that's fine, because I'm not in need of blockers right now. Really, I mean I have plenty. Another Call to the Feast, huh? So they're getting a lot of life here. Next turn, okay, Kinjalli's Sunwing is actually kind of good, because creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. I have half a mind to just attack. Yeah, I think we're gonna attack with you, and you, and you, to make sure we do a little bit of damage with Rustwing Falcon, and these guys are gonna have to get double blocked if they want to kill them. They do gain life, but I mean we're killing blockers if they're gaining life. We don't really care too much about that. If they want to actually kill God-Eternal Oketra, they're gonna have to block with like 6 of these. I don't think they quite understand that these are all just going to die without ever dealing combat damage. So that's nice, I guess. It's pretty nice. And really, they don't have any combat tricks. They're tapped out. I mean, this is too good for us. So let's go to first strike damage. We kill all of those tokens, and God-Eternal Oketra does not die. I'm expecting a concede from the opponent pretty quickly. I'm going to go ahead and do this and end our turn. Oh no, not an Epicure of Blood. It's not like we don't have like a ton of ways to gain life. Okay, there's Leon and War Leader. So, I mean, they pretty much lose next turn. Do they? I mean, no. Technically, no, but, almost yes. So they're going to create 2... Okay. No attack, actually. And they just concede. Okay. Well, that went well. This deck is doing pretty well so far. My only fear is that if we come up against control, we're just going to have a bunch of creatures on the field to get wiped and not really be able to recover. Hopefully we end up maybe playing against a control deck here before I end this video so we can see how it will fare. If not, you're going to have to take this and test it on your own. I feel like there are a lot of different ways to play this. I've built this like a little bit budgety, but not completely. I think this is actually a fairly good deck if you want something budgety, or if you just have like a bunch of random cards in MTG Arena and you want to build a deck with them. It's nice to build a deck around a Planeswalker that's an uncommon rather than a rare, because it's easy to get uncommon wild cards. So that's actually pretty good. And there's a lot of commons and uncommons that make this deck really strong. Like Baird, Steward of Argive is an uncommon. Druid of the Cowl is a common. Rustwing Falcon is common. Snubhorn Sentry is common. So a lot of good ways to do this. There we go. We finally found a game. Dr. Satan. Uh-oh. Not Dr. Satan. Okay, I go first. This is an okay hand. I'm not convinced I love this hand. It's not terrible. I might keep it. I'm going to keep it because I can just play. I'm going to shock this in and play Rustwing Falcon. Okay, so it's looking like mono red here. So that's good. We got a Druid of the Cowl. Gosh. If they play a Runaway Steamkin, Suncleanser wipes that bad boy because it can stop it from getting counters, which is why Runaway Steamkin is so good, because it gets really big once it gets +1/+1 counters on it. And they just Wizards Lightning my Druid of the Cowl. Not the end of the world. I don't like that, but it's not the end of the world. I can't play both of these, and I don't really want to play Suncleanser yet if I'm not getting the value from its ability, so I'm just going to go and play Snubhorn Sentry as a blocker. Then I can attack in that case. Of course, they could kill my Snubhorn Sentry and hit me, but I'm not really worried about that. I will be if I can't get mana here pretty soon, because our hand is not popping right now. This is not good. I may have kept a greedy hand when I shouldn't have. But we'll see. We will see. Okay, Fanatical Firebrand. Both attack. Oh gosh. Whew. Got the yawns. Okay. So we block 1 damage, and they probably have a shock or something. No, light up the stage. Okay, that's fine. That is a good land pickup there. So we can play our Shalai, Voice of Plenty, which may very well get killed next turn. But yeah, we're gonna not attack. The good thing about this is that they have to kill our Shalai before they can attack, or before they can shock or lightning strike any of our other creatures. Okay, so they go 1 on Shalai and then probably a Wizard's Lightning here, or just a lightning strike. That's not terrible. And they shock my Falcon, which is just mean, man. That's uncalled for. Uncalled for. Well, I still don't want to play this because it doesn't do me a whole lot of good right now, so I just pass the turn and hope they run out of steam, because my hand is bad. This is terrible. There's the runaway Steamkin that we've been waiting for. Haha! Now we can destroy them. Excuse me. So we can block 1 of these. Hopefully they don't have a shock to kill it. And nope, that's actually great. We can play Suncleanser. It's not target opponent, target creature. Runaway Steamkin. And then we can play Teyo the Shieldmage. And create a wall. Walls protect us. And Teyo is actually really good for mono red because he gives us hexproof, stops us from getting Wizard's Lightning and skewered by the critics. Goblin Chain Whirler. So deals 1 damage to Teyo. And then what? Attacking with the Lava Runners. So they're trying to wipe Teyo here. And I need to probably block this. I'm a little worried about blocking with Suncleanser, so I'm gonna go. I don't want to lose both of these though, so I think I'll let Teyo die. I mean, there's not a whole lot of point in losing both my blockers right now to save. A Planeswalker is not really doing a whole lot for me. We gotta pass the turn. Aegis of the Heavens is not a terrible pickup. It's not very good without Huatli on the field, so that's a bummer. But it can definitely keep us in the game. So Experimental Frenzy is coming out. We're not too worried about that. Let's block like this. Let's do this. And then we'll block that with Suncleanser. If they... Okay. First strike damage. I go to 11, which is pretty lame. Pretty lame. Then I'll light up the stage, huh? Okay. Let's see what they pull. A Pyromancer and a land. Huatli's Raptor is not a good pickup there. We're looking for Huatli or an Ajani here. Either one will do a lot for us. I should be blocking. I should have probably blocked Goblin Chain Whirler with Suncleanser. I was just a little bit scared of getting shocked. Well, there's a Wizard's Lightning on me. So we're going to take a lot of damage this turn. Oh, okay. So you top deck 2 Wizard's Lightnings. That's unbelievable. That's dumb. Here comes a shock. Okay, great. Great. We're just dead. I think we're dead. He's got 2 damage, I know, from the Vishino Pyromancer. If he has another shock, well, 4 in a row. Wizard's Lightning, shock, Lightning Strike. That is bonkers. Oh my goodness, Dr. Satan, why did you do that? Okay. We'll play another game. That one upset me a bit. So let's see how this does again. And after this game, I'm going to go talk about what I think maybe needs to change in this deck. Okay. This is game 4 of... Oh, this is actually a pretty keepable hand. We have 2 Huatlis, 2 Rustwing Falcons, and an Aegis of the Heavens, which is actually pretty good as an aggressive starting hand. Because we can play Rustwing Falcon turn 1, another Rustwing Falcon turn 2, and then also we're going to need to pick up some more lands. I was assuming we will draw a land by turn 3, so let's hope we do. Greenwood Sentinel, huh? Oh no, that's a terrible draw. Really? See, it happened now. Okay, we have 3 Huatlis, and I'll go ahead and play another Rustwing Falcon. And we just have to pray that we get a land here. If not, that's some big boo-boo. Big old boo-boo. No blocks. We take that damage. Not the end of the world. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, Huatli the Sun's Heart. We can now start attacking for 4. They do have a Daybreak Chaplain. This is a card that I contemplated playing in this deck because as a 1/3 with lifelink, it deals 3 damage in combat with lifelink. So I mean that's pretty dang strong. So also they're gonna hit Huatli for 5 this turn. If they have something, okay, they're going straight for the face. They're not even dealing with Huatli. Sunpetal Grove is okay. So we're gonna actually, here's what we're gonna do. We're going to attack with both. And then give one of them +1/+7, so that becomes a 9/9. So we hit for 11, and then when we minus Huatli, we gain 9 life. So that's a pretty strong play right there. I wish I had another Aegis of the Heavens here. That would be pretty nice. Okay, Luminous Bonds on one of those. So now we start to lose the race just because we don't have anything to deal with Daybreak Chaplain right now, except Conclave Tribunal. Chugga, 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 chugga. There we go. And we're still winning the race. So we go Rustwing Falcon. And if we draw a land, we can play God-Eternal Oketra. And we don't minus Huatli because I don't want her to die. I mean, if she dies, I do have a replacement, but I mean, they're just attacking me, so. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's another land. Haha. Okay, let's go to combat first, I guess. And that's probably game unless they have removal. If they had a Luminous Bonds for God-Eternal Oketra, that would actually be pretty strong. It's pretty strong play because it stops it from attacking. Luminous Bonds, there you go. I still get the passive ability for whenever I cast a creature spell, I create a 4/4 black zombie. But I have to draw creatures, which I can't play right now. I will minus gain 6 life because I have a replacement, and I'm there on a turn 2-turn clock with my Rustwing Falcon here because it's dealing 2 damage every turn. Unless they can gain some life, we are gonna. Okay, okay. So this is now a 9/9. Which is a bit scary. A 9/9 with Vigilance and Trample. Still, they don't have a way to gain life, but I do. Okay, they deal 9 to me. I can gain 6 back on my turn. We'll go ahead and play new Huatli the Sun's Heart. Yes, and we want to keep the one with more. Make sure if you ever do this, you click the right one. So it's choose the permanent you wish to keep. All others will go to the graveyard. So you click the one you just played if you want to keep that one. So now I can actually use the ability to gain 6. Take them to 2, and so if they don't have any life gain, we win next turn. Danith Compassion. I still win, even though this has lifelink. I'm still able to win because I have another Huatli the Sun's Heart. Also, we can play Belligerent Brontodon. Which is actually the play. I mean, because we get another token, and then we can attack for 2, and then we win. Whew! That was. I'm pretty sure we were playing like a pretty beginner-ish deck. But that was a little closer than I would have liked. Anyway, now that you've seen the deck in action, let's go take a little peek at it, see what might need to change. These boys thick. Now I might actually sub a Shalai out for like another Conclave Tribunal, or maybe even another Ajani the Greathearted. When I had Ajani the Greathearted on the field, I felt like I had really good control of the game. So you might want to start running 2 of him in this deck. I never ended up playing Tristani Discordant in any of those games. But I think I still think this is a good piece. One thing I think might want to change is playing not Atzocan Seer and maybe these big dinosaurs, but going a little more lower on the curve and playing Militia Bugler here, and not trying to end up ramping into big creatures like this. I still think Druid of the Cowl is a good choice just because it's a 1/3, which becomes a 3/3 with Huatli the Sun's Heart, and it produces mana, so if we're ever short on mana, that's actually really nice for us to have. Other than that, I think this deck is pretty good. Maybe you want to have a little more removal, maybe another Prison Realm and another Conclave Tribunal. I don't know exactly, but this deck is very fun. This deck is really fun. There's a lot of ways to gain life, a lot of ways to do nice, huge damage combos, especially with Aegis of the Heavens and God-Eternal Oketra and Zetalpa the Primal Dawn. I still like playing this in the deck, but it's a little bit too big, I think, for what we're trying to do here. If you guys have suggestions to how to make this better, if you have more suggestions for what to play, this deck was a request. And so if you want to request a deck for me to play, do that in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.